How many seats do you need to have a majority?
I can't remember.
Do you want to answer?
Need a couple.
Mark Carney brags about the amount of seats that he needs to get a majority, but that's not the worst. Wait till you hear what he said next. My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. Tonight on the show, we have a lot to cover, from the ostrich being culled in BC to the conservatives siding with the liberals to prevent an election. But before we do, the main goal of this show is to promote civil discourse. It doesn't matter if you're left or you're right, that you agree or disagree with us. We want to hear from you. So join the conversation and leave a comment right there under the video. Let's get right into it. First topic. Everybody has seen this. This is absolutely insane. It explains my hat. I actually wore a hunting hat in honor of the Cull that took place over the weekend. It seems that they've been literally, and I don't know if it's true, people in the audience correct me, tell me if I'm wrong, if you've heard any different, but I've heard that the remaining ostriches, no idea how many they were. We were at 399 about a month, 2 months ago, and this is the result that we see. It seems like they were sniped. Did you see this video, man? It's absolutely fucking insane.
They basically just sat up there and just picked them off one by one.
Like, what does it say about, I'm just going to leave a bit of music for ambience, but what does it say about the RCMP, about the CFIA, that is how they treat animals that were never tested to see if they had developed immunity to the avian flu or to the bird flu, however you want to call it. Does that sound like a democracy to you? Do you feel that we live in a democracy in Canada?
Well, I mean, I think it's weird. The whole thing's weird. I don't understand why they did it that way. Even if they're going to do a call, surely there's a better way to do it than just putting up a couple tree stands and just sniping at the ostriches from a distance. They're just target practice.
Man, I don't even know what to say. We spoke about this a lot from the beginning, ever since it started. I've spoken about this with David Creighton literally every Wednesday on our show, the political corner, the conservative corner. I don't even know what to add to this. Like, I saw those videos. I can't say I'm surprised by it, but I don't even know what to say. Like, what do you say to this? The whole thing is, from the get-go, it makes no sense. No matter what you believe, and nothing makes sense. Why was the RCMP and the CFIA that involved? Like, if you look at some of the videos are out there by Daisy Media, for example, that covered this story extensively by being over there, it's hard to believe that this is how we treat Canadian farmers. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? This is somebody's property. Yeah. Like it or not, however you feel about animals, they belong to that farm. And to just get them, like, they survived the avian flu. This is a fact, right? Some of them died last year, but for months now, they've shown no signs of being infected. They wouldn't test. Now they've been culled. And that is just for people to remember. Remember that RFK in the US said they would take them. Remember that Dr. Oz said that he would take them, host them at his ranch in Florida. That there were offer for those birds to survive. Nope. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think, where is it here? Derek Sittler, I agree with this comment. He says, it was always going to play out this way just to prove that they can and will do whatever they want, whenever they want to. Yeah, it feels like a power move, right? Like, it's just not the way even if even if you agreed with the Cull, let's say you agreed that it was a good decision, just for the sake of argument, how you can't possibly think that's the right way to do it. To set up a sniper position and just, blast away for a couple hours. That I don't know. The whole thing just it strikes me as a show of force by the state, which is funny because so clearly, I know this is a separate story, but it is kind of connected when you see, the Muslims, shutting down streets to pray, and you get this feeling like the state has no authority. That like the state, it's like almost like the government is saying nothing we can do. But then you look over here, clearly the government can throw their weight around when they want to. They're all for shows of force when it's for a left-wing political narrative. But when it comes to, making, cracking down on certain religious groups who are shutting down public streets in order to pray, all of a sudden it's this impotent federal government who can't do a thing, nothing we can do. But when it comes to these ostriches, I don't even know why it's political, to be honest. I don't know how it became that conservatives are for the ostriches and the left wants to call the ostriches. I don't understand that at all. There's nothing political about it, in my opinion. But clearly that is the way it has played out. And once it was decided that, say, the ostriches is a right-wing position, all of a sudden, that now the government wants to play. Now they're coming down hard. Now they've got all kinds of resources for shows of force. So I don't know, man. It just it doesn't sit right. Like I said, even if you thought that this was the right thing to do, you can't think this is the right way to do it. And I think it's just a power move, as Derek says. I think it's just a show of force.
And I love how you brought it, because I posted about something this morning. I was just reflecting on the past week of what's happened in Canada to kind of, try to wrap my head around it. Because one of the things that I always say is what's going on in Canada, what the Liberal government is doing to its people right now, is all seems siloed. Like it's all seems like all different things coming at you from separate places. But we need to understand that what they're doing is to us at every single place that they can, meaning that they're attacking us everywhere that they can. And it's not siloed. It's all part of the same agenda. Yeah. Like it is literally them doing shit to us. And here's a list. Here's a post I made on Instagram this morning. I love those posts because I call them Welcome to Chinada, where everything that's happening is connected and done on purpose. The BC ostrich farm call, the land grab in Richmond, BC, Carney not making a deal with the US, the Liberals trying to steal a majority without an election, censorship bill C2, C8, C9, C63 about to pass without opposition, Health Canada quietly lifting their ban on cloned meats and soon to be sold without a label. Wherever you look, our government is attacking us, going after our farmers, our freedom of speech, our economy, our income, our food supply, and soon our ability to travel. My call for what's next: universal basic income, digital IDs, and 15-minute cities. Canadians need to wake the fuck up and understand that we're being played. There's no left versus right. This is a top versus bottom issue. It's just insane when you start Ostrich Culled, so they're show of force against farmer. Land grab in Richmond, BC, they're using virtue signaling to take away private property. Carney not making a deal with Trump on purpose to crush our economy. The Liberals trying to steal a majority without an election. And if you saw the video I played at the intro, I'm going to play it right after this. But Mark Carney laughs at about, you'll hear what he says, but he's basically trying to create a majority without having to go to an election. Then you look at the censorship bills that are not passing right now because they don't have a majority. But can you imagine if the Liberals have a majority? C2, C8, C9, C63 will pass uncontested. And that fucking Health Canada lifting a ban on cloned meats. Like literally they're saying, oh, it's okay. We tested it enough. It's good for consumption and it will not need to be labeled as cloned meats.
To me, that's the real issue. I mean, I don't have an issue with cloned meat in the marketplace as long as people know that it's fucking cloned meat. And if you want to buy cloned meat for whatever reason, you can go and do so. But don't fucking sneak it into the regular meat supply and tell me that we don't need to label it, because that's absolute horseshit.
How would they? Because think about it this way: doing clone meats is going to be extremely cheap for the people that have labs. So on one side you're going after farmers like the Ostrich farm in BC. Then you're enabling massive corporations to clone animals and sell them to you. Literally, what are they going to live in vitro? Like you see in the movies, they're gonna live in a sack, in an MBX sack, and be developed up to when they're ready to kill and harvest whatever we want. Is that what we're looking at now? Like this is not science fiction. 20 years ago, you would have been, what the fuck? Do you remember when that sheep got cloned and we're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, Dolly,
and now they're talking about it. Yeah. See, there you go. Now they're talking about introducing that shit into the food supply like it's nothing.
Your food supply without telling you. That's absolute
It's dystopian. Dystopian is the perfect word. Bang on. Yep. Completely agree with you. Like, what the fuck is happening in Canada?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you want to create a market for cloned meat, sure, fill your boots. But like, label that shit. Don't just slip it into the meat supply with the rest of it, because there's a whole lot of people, I would say most people, who do not want to eat cloned meat.
I don't want to eat cloned meat.
I don't want to eat cloned meat. Meat you grow out of a fucking test tube in a lab.
No.
Also, how is my audio? Sorry, guys. I'm at my parents' place
for
the weekend. So I'm chilling in the garage, so it's just a one shot. So as long as I sound good,
it's fine. Hey, let me show you this, because in my prediction I said that that universal basic income, we've talked about this. It happened during COVID, and I was saying it's just a matter of time before they reintroduced it. Turns out that they already are. There's a bill called S206, an act to develop a national framework for a guaranteed livable basic income. So this is not going through the House of Commons. This has been tabled by the Senate, and it's already passed second reading. That means it's going to committee. They're going to review it, and then it's going to go back into the Senate for a third reading, and then they're going to vote on it. So basically, there's not a lot of information on it. The bill is super short. You can find the detail on parl.ca. But all to say that they are working on developing UBI right now as we speak. It's past second reading. Matter of time before it becomes law. And what did I say? What's next?
Have you seen the numbers on it? It's a pipe dream. Like it's something. It costs something like $350 billion a year.
Doesn't matter.
It's gonna pass. No.
Oh yeah, it's gonna pass. 100%. No. 100%. They won't have a choice, man. They will not have a choice. They won't have a choice. How are Carney? So this is the thing that most Canadians need to realize, is the reason I made that list is just to kind of put it into context so that we realize everything that's happening at once. Imagine that the economy doesn't get better over the next year, that people keep losing their jobs left, right, and center. There's AI that's replacing a lot of the jobs of people that are just, typically in front of their laptops every day, just doing paperwork. That's all going to be replaced by AI within the next 1 or 2 years. Even Elon Musk is proning universal basic income, saying that AI is coming and it's going to replace a lot of people's jobs. So it's just a matter of time. But imagine if you do have, well, just remember COVID. People lived on UBI for a while, and they weren't working. They were staying at home, smoking weed, drinking, fucking, playing video games, not contributing to society, because that's what happens when you're giving free money enough to live, right? You're just going to be lazy. But imagine that's what you live on. Don't you think that it makes sense to have censorship bills to say, you know what, better shut the fuck up or else your UBI is gone? This is the thing. When you start looking at everything that's going on and you put them into context, it's not a far cry to imagine that they all lead to UBIs digital ID. I don't know if you saw the new mayor of Edmonton, but he's proning. It's literally the second day after he was elected. He's like, hey guys, we're working on projects for 15-minute city in Edmonton. Can you imagine not having to walk anywhere from your place? Within 15 minutes, you can have everything that you need right there available. That's a fucking 15-minute city. They're being developed throughout the world. And of course, digital IDs have been worked on since before COVID. We know that during COVID, they worked on it to put a international vaccination passport through digital ID that you can go to the Canada.ca and you can find the actual program. But all to say that everything that I'm talking about is already in play right now. It used to be conspiracy theories, but not anymore. It seems that everything's happening at the same time. Hey, Mom.
Come say hi.
Yeah. Hey.
All right. Yes, all right.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Hi,
we do
Mom.
see you. Oh, that's not
Yes.
shameful at all.
Yes. So I mean, like, to what you're saying, I mean, it's kind of one of those issues where we definitely agree on the problem. And you know, I think some of the nuance, I don't necessarily think everything like this. I don't think this bill is going to pass. Like this is just like a virtue signaling thing. The Senate does this shit pretty regularly. It can't pass. Like, you know, people are freaking out right now about the $78 billion deficit as well. We should. I believe it's our biggest deficit ever. This would cost
It is
$370
without COVID,
billion.
outside of COVID.
Yeah. So I mean, the bill that they're passing the Senate or putting through the Senate, it's going to cost $378 billion. It's just not. It's not feasible. Like it's just. You know, as Stu says here, also appreciate that $10 tip there, Stu. Still says, can bills be introduced and passed through the Senate without the House? The Senate are unelected. They can pass a bill, but it has to go through Parliament. And the Senate's useless. The fact that the Senate passed a bill, it won't pass. It wouldn't pass Parliament. It will probably pass the Senate, but you know, it's a lot of virtue signaling nonsense. Now, that doesn't mean though that like. I think they know it's not going to pass or become law now, but what they're doing is getting people's mindsets used to the idea, right?
Exactly my point. No matter if it passes or not, the fact that they're talking about it is because they see it as the next step. They wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't a problem. In the same way, you know, you look at Bill C9 where they're saying that if you show a certain icon that is considered a hateful at a protest, you could get arrested and face 10 years in jail. Oh yeah, but come on. There's no judge in Canada that will put 10 years, that will give somebody 10 years for having a hateful sign. So why is it in the law then? Don't put it there. So the fact that they're trying to pass, however, I think it's going to pass eventually. You don't think so? That's fine. But the fact that they're trying to pass it is you should be looking at this like, why the fuck do we need to become dependent on government? Because they're about to fuck us. That's what it means. The fact that they're talking about it is a problem.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I think, you know, me and you both disagree with UBI for the same reasons. It's just, it creates dependence. It creates essentially laziness. It stifles the human condition. But I do think that a conversation needs to happen, and we probably need to start it now, about what is going to happen if AI does exactly what it's supposed to do, right? What like imagine a scenario 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where corporate profits are through the roof, economy's booming, productivity has never been higher, and yet unemployment's at 70%, right? Like that's not, like, there has to be a solution. And if it's not UBI, and I'm not saying it is, I mean, what I'm saying is conservatives need to start thinking about these and providing solutions, because right now the UBI is the only thing people are talking about. And I agree with you that it's just a fundamentally flawed system. It creates dependence. You know, it's basically what you see on, you know, you look at, you know, native reserves, how many, you know, everyone knows people who, like, I know many natives who leave the reserve because you can get trapped in them. I don't know if you have any native friends, but you'll often hear them discuss. You kind of get trapped in them, right? Because if you live on the reserve, they give you a house. It's not yours, but they give it to you. It's free. You're taken care of, and it's real comfortable. But it kills something in the human spirit, right? So I have Native friends who have had to leave in order to sort of escape what they felt as this sort of soul-sucking, comfortable but soul-sucking existence. And I think that's what a UBI is going to do with us. But I do think there's a real issue coming down the road if AI does what it's supposed to do. And I think we need, and I don't know what the answer is to that, but I think we need to start talking about it. Maybe not me and you specifically, but society in general.
The thing is that at one point, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be possible not to have it. But one thing's for sure is that I don't trust our government to handle it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And the point I'm trying to make is that in a perfect existence, if you remove human behavior, if you remove corruption, if you remove the want for control to just be in power and exercise it over your people, like we've seen from our leader throughout history, if you remove human condition, which is impossible, UBI and communism sounds like a great fucking idea. But in application, it don't fucking work. When your government is responsible for your livelihood, that means they can dictate whatever the fuck they want. If you're dependent on the government to stay alive, very easy for them to push a 15-minute city, to push digital ID, to put all the surveillance bills that they want in place to make sure that you have a golden prison. You don't see the bar, but you're in prison. You're in a 15-minute prison. Right? So that's the thing, right? Altogether, I don't like. Altogether, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
And if there is, let's say we're living in a hypothetical world where it becomes inevitable, I really hope we can at least do things like it should not just be given to people. Like if you can't work because there's no jobs, but you're getting money, you should have to volunteer at the shelter or fucking go pick up trash in the park or do something for 30 hours a week or something, like something that gets you out of the house and makes you a productive citizen. Because if we just start giving money to people for free, we're going to create as you said, just a comfortable prison. And as a species, we are going to just become degenerates and decay and morally, culturally, socially rot.
I couldn't agree with you more. Hey guys, if it's the first time joining the show, make sure that you leave us a comment, because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to accomplish here. Rob and I are trying to just create civil discourse where people can disagree. So it doesn't matter that you're leftist, you're rightist, you're somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter that you agree with us or you disagree with us. Leave us a comment, join the conversation, because that's why we do it. And as you can see, there's a shit ton of comments already going. And
there's a great one.
Let's take some of them, because that's what we do. Yeah, go for it, man.
Yep. Mel G. Alberta Independent says, if the government feeds you, they can also starve you. I mean, that's a great point. Right?
Exactly my point. I don't want them to have that power. I don't trust them, so I don't want them to be in power and tell me what I can and cannot say, because look at history. If they get that type of power, they're going to take advantage of it. That's just the way most humans are. And you don't need to believe in conspiracy theories to believe that. I believe that there's a one world government agenda behind that. But you don't need to believe that in order to see all the topics, the BC Cull, the attack on farmers,
something shitty going on.
The land grab, under land acknowledgements, censorship bill. Like, listen to this one. Like, listen to this video and tell me I haven't been right all along when I was saying that the liberals don't need an election anymore. They will gain a majority through people walking to their side of the fence. Listen to what Mark Carney said over the weekend.
More number before I wrap up. How many seats do you need to have a majority?
I can't remember.
Do you want to answer?
Need a couple.
Just a couple.
Just
all right.
a couple. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
So call your
Listen to
local
that part.
MP if they're not a liberal and tell them. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very good.
Call your local MP and tell them to cross over to the liberals if they're not liberals. How is that not wrong? How is that not fraud? How is that legal? This is not right. Yes, there has been MPs that have walked from one party to the other in the past, but never in a situation where it won the government a majority. Never. That has never happened in Canadian history. And now we have a prime minister that is openly joking about this, saying that he's only 2 seats away from a majority. And if your MP is in Liberal, call them and tell them to become one. How the fuck is that not interference? How is that legal? I don't understand how that's acceptable. Well, it blew my mind.
I mean, it is legal under the system, but it's not right. It's not, you know, there is still a thing as right and wrong, right? Like I feel like we live in this morally relativistic world where, and I think much of this is by design, you know, by the political left of moral relativism, right? We're all familiar with that argument that's made by the left over much of the last couple of decades. And they've been very effective with it in sort of almost baking into the collective psyche that there is no actual right and wrong. Everything is relative, and that's, we really got to get away from that. This is one of those things. It's just it's not right. You know, I understand that there is a history of crossing the floor in the parliamentary system. That's fine. It's never happened where a government has gone from a minority to a majority from crossing the floor. And that is a fundamental difference. I don't care what anybody says. You know, people will disingenuously say, oh, well, it's okay because in Canada, we vote for the person. When you go in the booth, you check your name, you're voting for a person, not a party. But that's bullshit. Nobody does that in real life. Yes, officially, technically, that's what we do. But there is not any, I guarantee you line up every voter who voted for, what's his name there? D'Entremont, the guy, the Nova Scotian MP who crossed to the Liberals. You ask them who their MP is. The ones who voted for him, most of them wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. They just know they voted for Conservative. So, you know, as we said on the show last week when this came out, and I think this is a extremely common sense idea. It actually came from some of the audience members, I forget which ones, is that anytime an MP crosses the floor, they should have to be an independent, and it should trigger an automatic by-election. To me, that's just 100%. You know, that's common. There are solutions to a lot of the fucking retarded problems in society today, and they're not that difficult. Most of them are just really common sense. It just takes a political will to actually do it, and unfortunately, we're severely lacking in that.
Bang on, man. It's I love that idea that we came up with the audience last week to just say, if you're not happy with your party, and you know, like I had that as a backup story, but since you brought it up, there's a report, and this is just a report. I don't know how accurate this is, but there is a report that just let me share my screen here. There's a report by Politic with Sammy on X. I don't know who that guy is, but as many as 10 to 15 MPs in Pierre Poilievre's caucus are very frustrated with him and his senior leadership team, according to one source. So if this source is correct, Poilievre's inability to maintain cohesion within his own caucus raises serious questions about the depth of his leadership and his capacity to manage his team. And don't forget, like, we're talking about 107,000 views here on that post. So it's somebody with a massive reach in Canada. And you know, man, his review's coming up in January. And I don't know if you heard about this, but we'll just talk about this, and then we can take some of the comments, because we're getting a boatload of comments right now. It's just that all the stories seem to go one into the other. But on Friday, you know, like the budget was tabled last week, right? And then it was tabled on the 4th. Then on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, they were debating. They were talking about amendments. They were trying to make changes. Then we have a week off. Then on the 17th, next week, they're going to have a final debate. And then they're going to vote if it passes or it doesn't pass. It doesn't pass, right? So here's Jason Levine posted that this morning. I think it was this morning. Yeah, I believe it was this morning. Basically, it appears that yesterday all 138 CPC members or MPs crossed the floor to the LPC, to the Liberal
I
Party.
heard that.
Did you hear that? So
they could have triggered an election, and they didn't.
So Blanchet, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, introduced amendments as a motion. Technically, if you're trying to amend the budget, that triggers a vote, right? People are going to vote yay or nay on the amendments that they're trying to pass. And here are the results. Liberals, 168 voted against. Conservative, 138 voted against. So both the conservative and the liberal voted against the bloc. And if the bloc, the NTP, and the Green all voted for the motion. So literally, Pierre Poilievre had the power to trigger an election on Friday, but chose not to. If that doesn't blow your fucking mind as a big C conservative, I don't even care what the motion is. It could have been anything. I don't care. I wouldn't have cared if I was the leader of the Conservative Party and my main job was to save Canada, like Pierre Poilievre is always bragging about wanting to do. Trigger an election any way you can, because right now, Mark Carney is showing you that he will march MPs to his side to become a majority. So if you don't go to an election right now, he's going to get his majority within the next few months. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. He doesn't care. He's going to wait a few months. He's going to have his majority. Then we're fucked for 4 years or 3.5 years, whatever's left. He's going to decimate the rest of the Canadian economy, pass the bills that he wants, and Canada's going to become the UK. But this is what blows my mind. I don't understand how conservatives, big C conservatives, are still supporting Pierre Poilievre after this. He had the perfect opportunity where the NDP, the Bloc, and the Green all voted against the Liberals. If he voted against, there you go. The election is triggered, Parliament's dissolved, and pow, we're going into a Christmas election. How does that not prove to the conservative, the big C conservative, that Pierre Poilievre is not here to save Canada? He's very comfortable being an opposition leader, or the controlled opposition that I know he is. Like, how are people not talking about this?
The thing that's crazy to me is that, you know, when we first discussed if Poilievre was gonna, you know, pass this budget, if he won an election, you know, we said Carney's really got him kind of backed into a corner. You know, it looks like he might get a majority if he won, and so maybe Poilievre doesn't want to do that, and that was the discussion. But now there's no risk to trigger an election at all. The risk last week or 2 weeks ago was that maybe Carney gets a majority, but now he's going to get a majority within a month or two anyways.
Exactly.
So he's getting a majority if you don't have an election, no matter what, because you know there's going to be one more conservative somewhere over the next month or two that's going to cross over. So there's no risk. There's no downside. Maybe you don't pass the budget, hold an election, and he wins a majority. That's a possibility, but it's a certainty if you don't have an election. So it's better to take the maybe he gets a majority versus he certainly gets a majority. You know, and something that this goes to the post that you showed where, you know, saying some of the Conservative Party are getting sick of Poilievre. I think you got to look at this floor crossing as a direct failure on his part. You know, he did not, like, he's the leader, right? That's how leadership works. It doesn't matter if technically it's his fault. If he could, you know, I'm sure the Poilievre supporters will be, what was he supposed to do? Tie d'Entremont to his chair and not let him leave the room? It don't matter. He's the leader of the party. If someone defects, that is on you, even if it's not your fault. That the buck stops here, right? That's how leadership works. I think that you know, maybe he doesn't pass that January leadership. You know, people have got to be in the Conservative Party. They've got to be getting pretty sick of this just weak leadership. And before I throw it to you, I want to take this from Dosas. Like the stream, guys. As Dosas says, it helps the algo, possibly opens the eyes of our fellow Canadian sheep. So yeah, follow Dosas's advice. If you guys are listening, remember to like and share the stream. I know sometimes you kind of it slips your mind as you get engaged in the conversation and whatnot, but just do that right now. And if you are new to the show and you want to support it, if you believe in what Nico and I are doing here, creating a space where people from all over the political spectrum, right, left, as long as you have common sense and good faith, you got a place here. You can support that by becoming a member through YouTube for the low price of $2.99. You can also buy us a coffee up in the top right-hand corner. And, of course, the best way to support the show is by commenting, because this is what the show is all about.
Yep. We want to hear from you. That's the whole point, because, you know, Rob Ambrose is not woke enough for the liberals, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. So this is, we're political orphans. At the end of the day, we don't know where the fuck we fit. But what we know is that political tribalism is fucking up our country. Because now people are backing Mark Carney no matter what he will do. People are backing Pierre Poilievre no matter what he's going to do. And I'm there sitting in between the two and saying, like, what the fuck? Are you guys on crack? Do you not see that it's them against us? That they are working for the same people and it ain't fucking us. We did a live. Remember, we covered the minister sworn, like the sworn in, the minister... shit, how do you call the swore in
the
minister
or swearing in the cabinet? Swearing in the cabinet.
Yeah, swearing of the, I think it's swearing of the cabinet. We covered that. And who were they pledging allegiance to? Not Canadians, to the crown, to the leader of the Commonwealth, that is the King of Britain. Not Canadians. So our own ministers do not work for Canadians. They work for the fucking king. If that doesn't open your eyes and tell you that they don't care about us, you remember Harper was sitting right next to Trudeau in the audience and like, they're shooting the shit. They're having fun, just like Trump when he's sitting next to Obama. How many times have we seen them together? They're just shooting the shit. They're all part of the club that we're not part of.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get fooled by the red colors and the blue colors. Absolutely. They're all together. Just look at the vote. If that is not the perfect example, what happened on Friday, that the Conservative had the perfect opportunity. The NDP, the Green, the Bloc were voting for amendments against the Liberal budget. All the Conservative had to do is, nay, we vote. Yay, we vote for it. Boop. Budget falls. Vote of non-confidence. The parliament is dissolved and we go to an election. They did not take the perfect opportunity. Please, Conservatives out there, wake the fuck up.
And it's
wake up. Wake up. That guy's not there to save you. Pierre Poilievre's not there to save you. I don't know what else it's going to take for the Conservatives out there to wake up to this. It blows my mind. It blows my fucking mind.
It's just more weakness by Poilievre. He all he does is play not to lose. It's just always the safe play, never taking a risk, and it's just weak leadership. I mean, you're not gonna. Carney's frankly just outmaneuvering this guy politically. Like he is, he's running circles around Poilievre, and Poilievre just does not have the parts. Ray Davis says the NDP aren't strong enough for an election to take back seats. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week. You know, the thing is an election could go all kinds of ways, and none of us, certainly not us two yahoos, actually know what would happen. There's scenarios where certainly the Liberals could win majority, but there are scenarios where the Conservatives could just win. I mean, something we had mentioned last week was a huge part of why the Liberals even got as close to the majority as they did is because there was a ton of NDP voters who strategically voted for the Liberals, but they are not Liberals. They did not join the Liberal Party. They're still NDPers, and it's entirely possible that they might say, well, look, we gave you our vote in the last election, but that wasn't going to be a forever thing, and go back to the NDP, and maybe the NDP gains 10 seats or something, or all the seats they lost, and that comes at the direct expense of Carney. I'm not saying that would happen. I'm just saying it might happen. There are scenarios where the Conservatives could actually unseat Carney, but if you do not force election, he is getting that majority within the next 3 months, one way or the other. He's going to get one more Conservative, especially if Poilievre keeps shit in the bed like this, because that's all he's got to say. It's a compelling pitch. All Carney's got to do is say, look at you guys. Like, you've got a weak leader. The ship is going down. You're on the Titanic. You just hit the fucking iceberg. Here's the life raft. Here's a lifeboat. Jump on it, and I'll make you deputy speaker or some bribe like they gave to D'Entremont there.
Listen, man. You're absolutely right. If you believe in, see, and this is the irony of this all. You don't need to be a conspiracy theorist to see this. Because I go so far, I go so much further. To me, elections are controlled. Just like George Carlin said, if we could change, if voting mattered, they wouldn't let us vote. So no matter what, our leaders are selected. If you ask me, they're not elected. But let's say I'm wrong. Let's say that voting works and this is how democracy is actually put in place. Okay, cool. We'll play devil's advocate. Let's say. How the fuck can you condone what Pierre Poilievre did? If saving Canada is his main task, just look at what's happening right now. Carney, as you said, I've been saying this since last week, or the whole week, because we're still Sunday. They're getting a majority no matter what. Carney bragged about it over the video I showed you. He bragged about the fact that he will get basically a majority. Just join me. Just tell your MPs to join me. What the fuck is Poilievre doing? He had the perfect opportunity right there. Right there. He had the numbers. All he had to say is, party, we're going to vote in favor of those amendments. Who cares what those amendments are? Who cares? It doesn't matter because it's going to dissolve Parliament. I don't care.
It don't matter.
I don't care. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's a means to an end, right? The means to the end is you trigger the election. It's a real easy cost benefit analysis. You either trigger an election and maybe Carney gets a majority, or you don't and he absolutely gets a majority. So I mean, better to take the maybe than the guaranteed. It's not a difficult. We talked about this last week. Just Poilievre's got terrible political instincts, or just terrible advisors, or he's just not taking good advice if he's getting any. There's something, as Joe says, Carney and Poilievre are on the same team. That is the problem. It's hard to argue against that. I don't. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because there are definitely some Poilievre supporters in the audience. Do you guys do you feel like he's doing a good job? Do you feel like are you disappointed in him? I mean, I'd like to hear from the Poilievre supporters. That's probably been one of the bigger ongoing debates on the show between us and the audience.
Well, definitely me, because I talk about this stuff all the time, right? As a conservative, if small c conservative, it's my job as independent media that doesn't believe in political tribalism. I will never walk a line. I'm a conservative, not a conservative party member. I'm a conservative. I believe in conservative values. That's what I believe in. I want a conservative leader, and Pierre Poilievre is not one. So it always blows my mind, and I agree with you 100%. What, for the big C conservatives out there that support Pierre Poilievre, why? What is he going to take? What has he done since the election? What has he done? What has he stood for that you really agree? Because he hasn't talked against the censorship bill to the extent that they should be talked about. The only person that really did talk about it is Leslyn Lewis. She has done a banged up job at speaking against it in Parliament. He has not addressed the BC ostrich farm at all. He will not touch that one with a 10-foot pole. He had the perfect opportunity on Friday to vote to call for an election, but he clearly doesn't want one. Remember, he won't stop talking about a costly election when all we want is an affordable budget. So if Canada is really at the brinks of collapse, like I know it is, like Pierre Poilievre has said that it is, that and all caused by the past 10 years of liberal policies. If that's really the case and that's what he believes in, why the fuck is he not taking that golden goose? Why? What the fuck is he not doing it? I don't care if he's ballless, if he doesn't have the balls to do something, if he's not a real leader. Why? As a Conservative Party member, as somebody that supports a Conservative Party, why? Why can you still support a guy like Pierre Poilievre? Because I look everywhere and I look at, I don't want to name names, but I look at the top 3 or 4 people out there, the conservatives, content creators, the supposedly independent media out there that are just supporting the Conservative Party. They don't talk about that. They don't approach the fact that Pierre Poilievre had the perfect opportunity to bring down a government. And I've seen posts. The post I showed you from Jason Levine, he was reposting a guy, Ryan something. I can't remember what his last name is. But if you go in the comment section, it's Northern Perspective. Like they have like 200,000 followers just on YouTube alone. And they were defending Pierre Poilievre. Like it wasn't the time for an election. Like when the fuck is it going to be the time if he's going to get a majority by just MPs walking over to his party? He's already doing it right now as we speak. And he's bragging about it on camera like he doesn't give a fuck. He's telling you what he's going to do. He doesn't care about an election anymore.
He sees it as a win. He sees it as a win. He doesn't see it as something to be ashamed of. He sees it as like a brilliant piece of political maneuvering.
And it is. It actually is.
It is, but it directly harmed. Like he can't claim to care about the health of the Canadian political system because it's already suffering from an unprecedented trust issue. People do not trust the system, and then you see shit like this, and people say, "Well, yeah, of course, it's rigged, right?" Like it's good for the Liberal Party and Mark Carney, and it's terrible for the country, but he doesn't give a shit.
You know, Tracy Smith is banging on all the world is a stage and all are actors. I like to say that politics is WWE for adults. They're just, instead of being shirtless and full of testosterone, they're in suits full of estrogen. That's it. That's the only difference, but it's all a show. It's all bred in circuses. It's just for us to be entertained, thinking that they're accomplishing things, but action speaks louder than words. Look at their actions. Look at what they're pushing. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Walking Campbell's cat says you trigger the election and he'll get the majority. I mean, yeah, that's possible. For sure it's possible. But if you don't,
he's going to get it no matter what.
Guarantee. Yeah. So it's like if I give you 2 vials of liquid and I say this is 100% guaranteed to be poison, and this is only 50% guaranteed to be poison, you're not going to want to drink either one, but you're going to pick the one that's 50% because you at least get a shot. He's going to get. I think
no matter what,
get at least 3 more in the next 2 weeks. I don't know about that, but I think at least 1 in the next month is as close to a given as you can get in politics today.
Well, they're not getting 3 in the next 2 weeks. They're getting 1. The only time left to debate and vote down is the 17th. They're not talking about this week because it's Remembrance Day on the 11th, which is Tuesday. And that's it. There's the 17th. But who's to say that there's going to be another amendment presented that the NDP, the Bloc, are both going to be against? Because that's the thing, right? The NDP, the Bloc, and the Green were for the amendments. Pierre Poilievre, for all we know, is not going to get that chance again. And Carney's going to get his majority. So no matter what, however you look at it, the majority is going to happen. Is it going to be through election? Or is it going through stealing it the way Carney's working on right now? And if it is stolen, that means that the next 3.5 years, we need to go through it. We will not have another chance to get another election because they won't trigger it. They're going to have power. If they trigger another election, is because they want an even bigger majority, but they don't need it. It won't matter anymore because they're going to be able to pass whatever the fuck bills they want without ever opposition. They could literally stand up there with their fingers of their nose saying, ha, 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 not answer any questions and just pass bills one after the other and nothing we can do about it. This is the reality.
Yeah, exactly. Where was the hold on, there was a comment I wanted to take. Actually, there's another one I saw here. I can't find it now, but it was talking about Elizabeth May. I mean, that's a wild card too. Maybe they don't even need a conservative, right? Maybe May.
I said that this week. Remember?
Yeah. I mean, so there's
all they need is alcohol.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
give alcohol.
Yeah,
tell her lifelong alcohol to lifelong vodka for free. Yeah.
Pour a line of vodka over to the conservative side, and she'll just lick the floor over. It's not that. I'm sure Poilievre doesn't want to have an election because he can't win, and yeah, it's not a great choice. He wouldn't be excited about it, but again, it's the only option that gives you a chance. Because not having an election, he's gonna get that majority, and he's gonna do it in a way that's gonna really, really damage trust in the Canadian political system at a time when we really, if you care about the state of the country, you want people to have trust in the political system. and you know,
and
this is going to cause.
but not
if,
only
if
in
Carney,
that, right?
If Carney gets majority in this way, it's going to cause a lot of long permanent damage to the system and people's faith in it.
But listen, you know, the post that I showed earlier, it's speculation. I have no proof that it is correct or not. But imagine that it is true that there is another 10 to 15 MPs that have been complaining about Pierre Poilievre and his way of leadership. Let's say that those guys are like me. They're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Is Canada not being destroyed in front of our eyes right now? Why the fuck did we not vote for those for the motion? Why did we not vote in favor of those amendments in order to trigger an election? Why the fuck are we just standing here and voting with the Liberals? What the fuck are you doing? Do you think it's gonna? So imagine that there's no elections, that in February, March, Carney gets another 2 votes, right? Because this is what we're seeing will probably happen over the next couple of months. Carney will get his majority. The leadership reviews in January for the Conservative Party. Do you honestly think he's going to win? I don't think he's going to win anymore. So if he loses, that means the Conservative Party is without leadership, in complete rumbles, while the government, the Liberal government, is on his way to winning a majority without ever having an election. There's not going to be an election for the next 3.5 years if there's not an election based on this budget. There's nothing that there's nothing that the Conservative will line up with the NDP, with the Bloc, and the Green. There's no other opportunity. They don't. The Bloc believes in censorship. So does NDP. So does the Green. So the 4 bills, C2, C8, C9, C63, are not going to be something that they all vote against. They're not. A lot of the NDP is going to vote for it. They want that shit. The UBI that we're talking about, imagine that it goes to the House of Commons. Because remember, you're saying, you know, the Senate is like 95% liberal. And most of it were put in place by Trudeau. Just so you guys know. So it's not a 50-50 close-ish like in the US. No. It is stacked 90% or even higher. I've seen numbers as high as 95% liberal. Imagine that they do have a majority. If that bill shows up to the House of Commons, the Liberals all say, yay, passed. UBI is now something that's possible in Canada. There's a framework for it. So yes, it might not pass on the Senate because it needs to go to the House of Commons. But if they have a majority, guess what? It could pass. So we're talking censorship bills. We're talking UBI. What's next? Digital IDs. That passes no problem because there's no opposition possible. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. How is Pierre Poilievre not talking about this? Just what I've said right now. Hey, guys, listen to what I'm saying. If they have a majority, they will be able to do everything that I just listed. Everybody on the Conservative side is going to be like, oh, yeah, fuck, man, we need to wake the fuck up. There's nobody on the Conservative side that agree with Bill C2, C8, C9, C63. They have an opinion about the ostrich farm. They don't want land grabs. They don't believe that our government should be in power to give us digital IDs or 15-minute cities. So he's not losing any support whatsoever. He's reinforcing his support. And by just admitting that women can have penises, he would gain the non-woke liberals like you and bring them over. The strategy is so simple that the reason he's not doing it is that he is controlled opposition. There's no other there's nothing else it could be. That's it. What else you got? If he's not controlled opposition, is he just that fucking dumb? I don't believe it because I don't think they're stupid. They're playing stupid. They're trying to make believe that they're stupid, but they're not stupid. They know what the fuck they're doing and they're fucking us. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. As David FL says, if Poilievre loses, it's over. I assume you mean like that's why he doesn't want to trigger an election. Yeah. But that's weakness for one. That's Poilievre looking out for Poilievre. At the end of the day, if Carney gets a majority because another Conservative leaves, I think it's over anyways. If it happens before January, he loses that. That whatever that is, that assessment or whatever in January. There's no way. And if he doesn't, then the fucking Conservative Party is just cooked, man. If they still after he loses a majority in an unprecedented way by allowing at least 2, if not 3 or more Conservative MPs to cross the floor under his watch, and they still say, "Yep, this is my guy," and they vote for him. Like, I will come full circle on. Yeah, these guys absolutely just controlled opposition. They do not want to win because again, there's just no other explanation for that.
Let me take this one. You stir the soul. Hey, Nico, how does it sound to you guys? If they want to cross over, they first have to stop in the center and suck a big black dick with veins, a big veiny black dick. Comic joke or not. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that should be part of it. But they shouldn't be able to cross over. We've spoken about this. I think we have the perfect solution. If you want to leave your party, that's fine. No problem. Become an independent until and it should trigger two things. You automatically become independent. You can no longer vote on any motion, any amendments. Your vote has been canceled. You can't vote anymore, and it triggers a by-election. That's it. Plain and simple. There you go. There you have it. It's done. Yeah. And that's a very simple solution. Very simple. Very, very fucking simple. And that's a motion that should be passed right now. If I was in the Conservative Party, I would be working on that amendment or on that bill right now. As we speak, I would fucking table that shit next week. Like tomorrow. I'd be doing this overnight with ChatGPT or Grok. Let's fucking write that shit. And I'd propose it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there would be support. It's a common sense. It would be a popular bill. And you know, as people might say, oh, well, there's a long history of crossing the floor. Yeah, but maybe it's, you know, just because there's a history of it doesn't mean that, you know, there's a long history of slavery too, by the time they got rid of it. But then they said, hey, let's get rid of this thing because it doesn't really work anymore. This floor crossing, whatever the history of it is, it's clearly harmful. It clearly hurts democracy at a time when, you know, I assume people, even people on the right or conservatives who are just completely fed up with the system and have no trust in the democratic process at all. They probably want a democratic system that works. They probably want to have trust in the system.
I do.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Right. In some ways it's like, oh my God, these are impossible problems to solve. And sometimes it feels like that, but really they're not. There's, it takes work, but you can rebuild trust, but you have to start doing things that, generate trust. And you don't see anything of that. Instead, you see the opposite, like this floor crossing nonsense. Of course you should be able to leave your party, but you should not be able to go to the other party. You certainly should not be able to give the other party majority. If the Canadians wanted Mark Carney to have a majority, they would have elected it to him, 5 months ago when he ran.
I'm not an anarchist. I'm not an anarchist. I don't believe that the best system is anarchy. We need some type of public representations. We need to have people that work for the people. We need to elect people that work for the good of the people to service the public. Public service is something that is 100% needed. The problem is that how many people trust our system? I don't at all. I don't give a fuck the color you think you represent. You all work for somebody that ain't the Canadians, and that's the crown. You're working for somebody that was not elected, that was selected, and you're working for the WEF, for the WHO, for the UN. You're working for people that want more power towards a one world government. That's who you're working for. If you're not working for Canadians and putting Canadian first, you're not working for me. I don't want you in power. But that doesn't mean that we don't need some type of a government that will do what's needed for us. We need a very small government, as small as possible, to defend us against foreign attacks, to manage our economy similar to how the greenbacks were handled almost 150 years ago. Print enough money for your economy to be able to enable trade and services. That's it. Not more, not less, so that you control inflation. But you do not give that power away to international bankers. Because people don't realize that, but they're not the reserve. The people, the department that supposedly prints our money does not belong to the government. It belongs to foreign entities. Federal Reserves is just a cool term to make it sound governmental, but it ain't governmental. So we're not responsible. We borrow every single dollar at an interest. It's impossible for us to repay the debt. That's how the system is. It is there to fuck us. Because the government is not there for us. It's there to promote and make more money for the people in power that are international bankers. They're the people that fucking rule the world. Just watch Money Masters, a fucking documentary from 1996. It will explain to you everything you need to know about how money works. And Mark Carney is not an economist. It's worse. He's a banker. He understands world reserves. He understands world economy. He understands world banks. He understands how that fucking works. And that's our PM right now. That clearly doesn't care for us. So it's, bro, again, I'm going to print a sign like apocalypse is coming. And I'm going to start fucking standing on corners in Montreal dressed like a hobo. Just, it's coming. Because that's how I feel sometimes. Fuck.
The end is near.
Exactly.
All right, guys,
apocalypse now. The end is near.
Yeah. Yeah, the end is near. We'll end with this one from Therese. Says, keep up the great work. You men are doing great. We appreciate that, Therese. Guys, another excellent show. Lots of tons of comments today. Seems like probably the most that I've seen in a show. So lots of new faces, guys. Love to see you guys keep coming back, keep contributing to the show, and really help building the community here. Because really, if you're a regular viewer, you know that the show is as much you guys as is us. And I think it's great to see all these new faces and that people keep coming back and sticking around. So you can support the show by becoming a member through YouTube. You can also give us a coffee or buy us a coffee through the QR code in the upper right. That will allow us to keep bringing you this high quality content night after night. And of course, above all else, regardless if you're a member or not, just make sure you come back and keep commenting. If you agree with us, disagree with us, whatever, we want to hear about it. We want to hear from you guys. Stu says, good conversation. Yeah, right back at you, Stu. Appreciate you, brother. Other than that, folks, I think that's it for me. Nico, you got anything to add?
No, that's it. I just lost my shit for like half an hour today. So yeah. No, thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments. And guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. See you tomorrow night. Peace.